How's it going, everyone? Nick from Comic Culture here. Time for Nick at Night, my weekly comic book review show. Let's get into the books I read this week. I'm going to go ahead and put my grading scale up, and we're going to dip into DC first with Jason Aaron's Action Comics number 1061. So this is the beginning of his new Bizarro run, and I liked it a lot. I'm not a big long-term Superman reader. I know Bizarro, I've read a couple different arcs with him in it and featured in it, but if you're a big Bizarro fan, this is the book for you because Bizarro gets an upgrade in here, and it has to do with magic, and it's pretty cool because obviously Superman's weakness is magic. So what does that mean for Superman? What does it mean for the world if Bizarro comes and starts messing around with Superman again? Really, really cool stuff. You do get like a headache because Bizarro is featured in here, so you have to get used to his vernacular. And so, but it was really cool. I love the art in here. Lots of cool little battles between Superman and Bizarro. Nice little cliffhanger at the end as well. So I feel like he's left a good mark here. It's a fine comic. It's not one of my favorite ones of the week, but I didn't regret reading it. It was pretty interesting, and it's got a cool twist and turn. Art's spectacular. Did you guys read it? What'd you think? All right, going over to Marvel, we have Rise of the Power of X issue number 1. So we have the Fall of the House of X the previous week, and now we have the Rise of the Powers of X. Now, if you really enjoyed Hickman's perspective on the long-term future plans for like Orcus and Nimrod and a bunch of the other folks that are just like taking over and maybe like assimilating to the higher power, we have Omega Sentinel, we have some Moira stuff, Dr. Stasis. If you're into all those alternative futuristic landscapes, whatever mutant rebel team is still together, usually it's Wolverine and maybe Kitty and Professor, whoever it might be, you're really going to enjoy this book. The art is really great on this too, from R.B. Silva. And yeah, you get a lot of that alternate timeline kind of jumping stuff. And yeah, I was totally digging it. I like it a lot. It highly rides on the theories of the Moira clones and what Dr. Stasis or Essex or whoever was actually running that whole thing has been doing with them. Lots of cool little moments in here. Again, there's a nice little graph at the back to help us kind of get oriented and see exactly where we are, where the past lives were for Moira, what was going on then, what's the current landscape, and then what's this alternate timeline that's spinning out of all this chaos. Yeah, there's some back matter in here as well, and it kind of gives us maybe a resolution on how we can fight this Moira loop that we're in right now. So it's pretty cool. So if you like heroes sacrificing themselves for the greater good, lots of little infiltrating kind of stories, cool last stand moments, you're going to dig this book. Yep. So Rise of the Powers of X, not a bad book. Better than Fall of the House of X, in my opinion. What do you guys think, though? All right, the next Marvel book we read was The Avengers issue number 9 from Jed MacKay. Usually I'm a big fan of his writing, and not really digging the Avengers for some reason right here. Not really for some reason. They're fighting a team right now that really just doesn't make any sense. They're kind of clones in a way. They consider themselves gods, so basically grab any popular mainstream Avenger. They have an equivalent of that over there, but they think really highly of themselves, and they're trying to find Kang right now. And so that's basically the whole thing. Avengers are hiding him. He has some foreboding message that he's trying to relay, but he's in intensive care. This team's trying to find him and kill him or take him back into their army. I don't know. I kind of lost the narrative at this point, but the last several issues have been basically the run-of-the-mill Avengers taking on whatever external threat there is, and their powers seem to match, and they have to find creative ways of getting around that. This issue is no different at all. They kind of pair off one-on-one. They initially get their butt kicked. They have a new idea, and they flip the tables a little bit. So it's like just more of the same stuff. So yeah, I mean, I'm not really digging the Avengers, but on issue number 9 right now. I wanted to go somewhere. I wanted to do something different and new. The Avenger title seems to be bogged down right now with this kind of a thing. Twilight Dreaming Part 3. Can't wait for this little arc to be over. But I don't know, guys. What do you guys think? If you're reading this book, let me know down below in the comments. Then I also read a Star Wars book this week. This is Star Wars issue number 42 from Charles Soule. So I got this one just because it's supposed to be like the first appearance of this new Sith, and we're going to be exploring what that is. We have a young Luke in here going around the galaxy, trying to find more information on kyber crystals, trying to get the evilness out of it. Maybe he can find a way to convert it into a non-evil kyber crystal, I guess. So he meets a few people. He has relationships with these people. They have a this ability to infiltrate the stone or know more about it, or they have like a long history with like the inner workings of it. They send him kind of on this this little journey into the heart of the stone. He meets the Sith that has corrupted it, and of course there's a big battle that ensues inside of there. So Was it a good issue? No, not really. It wasn't very exciting. It was interesting from the perspective of learning more about the lore of kyber crystals in general. If you don't know a whole lot of stuff about that, like me, you don't really learn a whole lot, but you do get the idea that like the soul, the essence of that person is trapped inside of that stone, and that's what helps power it over time or something like that. So you do get that, but they don't go in depth much more than that. So we're going to see what Luke does in subsequent issues. Star Wars issue number 42. It's okay. Giant Size Spider-Man issue number 1. Now, the first part of this is a brand new story. So from Ziegler. So if you've been reading Miles Morales, you might want to pick this one up too, because we have this other Venom in here going into a warehouse. There's moments in here where they collaborate and they take on this gang of people that are messing around with this new technology and creating these different weapons and stuff like that. Pretty run of the mill. We get some other street level heroes in here like Misty, once Venom obviously and inevitably changes sides and starts fighting Spider-Man again. So, there is that right there. Artwork is pretty cool. Story is pretty straightforward, pretty predictable. The back end of this is actually a reprinting of Ultimate Spider-Man from Bendis. So if you're reading this one and you noticed like a shift in the story, a shift in the art, whatever, and then a pretty dramatic and surprising conclusion, like I read this and I was like, holy crap, I can't believe they did that. It's actually a reprint of Ultimate X-Men, I think 22, something like that. I'm not entirely sure, but pretty good book. If you're reading Miles Morales, pick this one up too, I guess. Next, we have Blade issue number 7, the Hulk Slayer on here. Blade's been a pretty cool book so far. I haven't been mad at any of the issues really that have been coming out so far. This is a tie-in with a Hulk that's out right now, and it was a pretty successful tie-in. I think they did a really good job. There is a common thread in both of these books. There's an old, ancient, mystical power that has now been released, and it's causing all these different demons and stuff to kind of attack both Hulk and Blade in a way. And so they're both trying to figure out what the heck's going on, and they might be related. The source of the power might be related, so it's an interesting thing to explore. So Banner calls in Blade for some help, and they tag team on this latest threat in this town that they're in. And it's pretty cool. It involves some monsters taking over this little boy's body. Of course, he's going around killing people. It's ultra gory, and I like the ability to resolve the problem in here. It definitely reminds me of a certain moment in Office Space in the field with a printer. It's the exact same conclusion inside this comic and in that scene as well. So I thought it was pretty cool. I liked the little team up right here. I've been digging both books. Both are fine. I'm not like blown away by either series, to be honest with you, but we had some really cool moments in here, and I do like Banner and Blade teaming up inside this book. So Blade issue number 7, another good Blade book. So yeah, check this one out. All right, it's time for Ultimate Spider-Man issue number 1 from Hickman. Man, this book was great. It was everything I wanted it to be in a way. I didn't have a whole lot of expectations going in besides, man, I hope it's good, because coming out of Secret Invasion, I didn't really have a whole lot of confidence, but I just knew that he would take his time and hopefully knock this one out of the park. And I think he did exactly that. I love this universe. I like this Ultimate Spider-Man, this Ultimate Peter Parker. I love his house situation or his home situation right now. I don't know what I should say in this book. It's very different, and I think a lot of the fans are going to like the situation he's in right now. It's still a book that's heavy in with great power comes great responsibility, so there's that whole theme throughout here as well. If you're doing something you don't enjoy doing, and you feel like you have a hole in your life and you have a way of maybe resolving that, you have a responsibility to pull that out and to actually act on that. And that's what this book is all about. It does take place after the events of Ultimate Invasion. So if you have not read that book, you might be confused about like, well, wait, why are they mad at Tony Stark? What did he do? All this kind of stuff. There are events in that book that are referenced to inside this issue. So you should read that 4 or 5 issues, whatever it was, and pull out some of those items. This book has got me very excited to see where the whole story goes in general. We get some Mary Jane in here, and she's really accommodating in kind of like a weird way, but this book definitely has a whole lot of heart. The feeling in this book is really good. The art is spectacular from Kaketo, and yeah, I just love everything about this one. So Ultimate Spider-Man, definitely check this one out. All right, we're diving into some indies. We have Sub-Genre issue number 3 from Dark Horse Comics. We have Matt Kint on this one. This book is really interesting. It has to do with the ability for these certain people. I think they were affected by some magical rock that kind of crashed on the earth or something like that. They have a little bit of dialogue inside of this issue to help explain what the heck is actually going on. There are certain individuals who who have the ability to transport maybe their consciousness or something into other realities, right? And so like you might be in this reality, but then you can actually hop over to another reality and do some damage over there, which might have rippling effects. I think we're still trying to understand maybe the capacity of all that. So one of our characters here, our main character, actually is introduced to this idea, realizes he's one of these select people, and there's a whole organization of people trying to stop him or align themselves with them because he's super powerful. I don't quite know. I think we're going to learn a little bit more, but it's a pretty cool concept. It had me lost a little bit inside of issue number 2. Issue 1 was relatively straightforward as more of like a murder mystery with a cool little psychological twist at the end. Issue 2 lost me a little bit. Issue 3 tried to explain what was going on. I think we're going to need a couple more issues to really solidify that explanation and make it make sense completely. But it's a pretty cool book so far. I'm going to keep reading it. Have you guys reading subgenre? Let me know what you guys thought. All right, sticking with Dark Horse, we have Usagi Yojimbo, issue number 4 of 5. This is the Ice and Snow story right here. Pretty cool story. I do like this one. We have Jai, I don't even know how to say this guy's name. He's like a demon hunter kind of a guy. He has a lot of history with Usagi right now. He's traveling around. Presumably they met before and they had some epic battle. They allude to that inside of here. He's on the hunt now that he knows that Usagi is in the area trying to find him. And Usagi's trying to get out of here, man, because he knows this guy is up to no good. And there's a really cool battle with Usagi and an ally with this guy and like his whole army of basically bandits that don't really want to be with him, but if they don't play along, he's just going to kill them. So it's a pretty cool dynamic, and there's a lot of cool banter between the warriors while they're kind of like marching into battle right here. And so this one's a really action-packed, man. This is a really cool issue. I do like this one a lot. This is issue number 4 of 5. Going to be wrapping up. I can't imagine what issue number 5 is going to bring, because there is a conclusion to this battle, and the story seems like it's going to go on further than just the next issue. So don't exactly know what's up, but Usagi's just like a cool read. It's a chill read, not a whole lot to it. It's fun. It's never like too challenging or anything like that. So issue number 4 of 5, Ice and Snow story, not too bad. What do you guys think? All right, jump over to Massive. We have Zorro, Man of the Dead, issue number 1 from Sean Murphy. And this book was pretty cool. I didn't quite know what I was going to get into with a Zorro book. You know, it's not really something that I'm obsessed with or I was super interested with, but I saw the creative team and I'm like, okay, we should check this one out and see what's up. Because, you know, the art and storytelling in here, it's going to be good, right? Like I always say, you're pretty safe to follow creative teams, not necessarily characters, because, you know, anybody could be writing and drawing that and it might not meet your expectations. This is a cool book though. We're basically in Mexico right now. We have the legend of Zorro, which is infamous and being celebrated. There's a local cartel or gang that wants to kind of hush that and make everybody more, you know, like submissive to their causes and things like that. And so some time has passed since this past celebration, which was ruined. And we get some hard feelings and some people kind of preparing for the worst. And maybe someone's going to pick up the mantle once again and save some of the people that were close to them when they were kids. So it's a pretty cool book, very well drawn. Coloring is awesome in here. It takes some liberties and it jumps around a little bit. It has some silly moments in here, but I think the overall vibe and feeling has been actually pretty cool. So I'd recommend checking it out because it's one of those books I took a chance on and I'm not regretting that at all. So yeah, check out Zorro, issue number 1. Not bad. Transformers issue number 4, Daniel Warren Johnson. We have Mike Spicer on here as well. Just a kick-ass creative team. Absolutely insane. The work that they're doing inside of this book. This issue right here really connects you with Optimus and his allies with the human race in here. There are moments in here that were really, really impactful and they get that emotions going, you know? And so this was probably the most emotional charged issue so far, issue number 4. That says a lot because there's a lot of great moments in the previous issues as well on both sides. Do we need to talk about the art? It's absolutely amazing. Daniel Warren Johnson and Mike Spicer. What do you expect? It's going to be the best of the best, right? So you have that. There are so many great moments inside of this issue, so you really got to check this out if you've not been reading it. You're really doing yourself a disservice if you're not on Transformers right now and giving it a fair shake. So, I mean, I don't really have to say much more about this. Issue number 4, another brilliant, emotional issue. Definitely check it out. Swan Songs, issue number 6 from W. Maxwell Prince, and we have Martin Morazzo on here as well. This was a different issue than anything we've seen before. I think we've seen some ice cream man issues like this. But we are following a story of this man who's married and has a child. He's going through like an emotional thing right now. He's got a lot of newly diagnosed mental illnesses that he's dealing with, and they're actually bringing in past characters or monsters, demons, emotions, whatever, from Ice Cream Man into this, and going over what exactly that thing is all about and how it relates to our main character. So it's pretty cool to see him say, you know what, I had a suicide attempt and I've been committed right now, but now I'm seeing like the Jeepers, the Peepers Jeepers kind of guy, and I got this little gremlin over here, and then we have these other things that are popping up from the other Ice Cream Man books and whatnot happening. We also get the perspective of the wife and the daughter in here and how his mental state is affecting the family. You know, like she has to work more hours, the wife does, and she's starting to have like a little bit of a breakdown, gets in fights with the daughter a lot. TV is raising her, and so she gets brought up in the wrong way, and so she starts hanging out with the wrong crowd, things like that. And so we really get to see all these emotional states and demons from the past issues of Ice Cream Man infiltrate his mind, and we get to see the effects of that across the entire family. Absolutely brilliantly done. And yeah, this is just such a great series. Swan Songs, man. Issue number 6. Definitely check it out. Jeff Lemire's Fishflies, issue number 4. Great series as well. Now, issue number 1, I was like on the fence with. I'm like, yeah, this is going to be cool. I don't really know what the Fishflies thing's all about and how it ties in. And honestly, I still don't. But the emotion, the characters, the problem we have in this book is just really compelling. And I'm really liking what I'm seeing right here. The art and everything has definitely grown on me. Maybe not the biggest fan of it initially, but throughout issue number 2, 3, and 4, it's really hit hard and really pulls through the emotion and the state and the feel that this book is supposed to give you. Matches the writing completely. And yeah, this book is really cool. Great use of colors and stuff like that, just kind of popping in every once in a while, making some dramatic effect on here. We have this cool detective story going on right now, or this police chief or detective who's trying to redeem himself, trying to solve this little mystery going on. There's lots of kids that are missing. There was this killer on the loose, and there's this little mystical element as well that people are starting to perceive. And yeah, there's just a lot of cool things happening inside this book. Lots of emotion, very melancholy, great artwork, cool story overall. So yeah, Fishflies, issue number 4. What a great series from Jeff Lemire. Definitely check it out. All right, next we have Kodransky on Blood Commandment, issue number 3. This is a great book. This is a great series as well. At a high level, this story is really all about a man who's trying to redeem himself from his past sins, right? He may have been with the wrong crowd, and the wrong crowd in this instance is supernatural and a total badass, but he's trying to live a better life. You know what I mean? He lost his wife due to some really sad circumstances. He's trying to raise his child in a world is more innocent and has more opportunity and things like that. But this guy's demons literally come back to haunt him, and there's some major effects on his family going forward. And now we're kind of set on this either like revenge mission or something like that. It's going to be a really interesting thing to see where we go from here, because there's not a whole lot of options for our main character to save his family at this point. Visually, this book is outstanding. This is absolutely crazy. It's got high stakes. There's so many cool things going on, great perspectives, cool use of color when it's splashed in there. I love the lettering in here as well. Just really cool. There's great variety and composition, and I'm having a really good time with this series. This is really cool. So Blood Commandment, definitely check this one out. We're on issue number 3, plenty of time to catch up. You got to be reading it. Recommender on Sacrificers, issue number 6. First off, what a cool cover that one is right there. This one really stuck out to me. So great job to that team right there. We got some interesting things going on right now because we were introduced to these gods, right, that are living above the people, and they are reliant on the people to sacrifice themselves in a way to rejuvenate themselves, to give themselves more energy and more life. There's a process to that we were introduced to in the previous issues, and one of our sacrificers here inadvertently has taken advantage of that process, and now he's reaping like the super serum benefits of that entire thing. So it's really cool to see that. The world building in this is really great. Max Tremora is just an absolute great artist, really expanding everything in this world, giving you some more depth, right? Because this process that they use to rejuvenate themselves via the sacrifices, you have to imagine that this is like an ancient methodology, and they've been doing it for so long, and they have a really cool way of showing that without really telling you. They just show you, and it just works so well inside this book. I love all the emotion in here. There's lots of high stakes. You think it's going to go in one direction. You think relationships are going to go in one direction, and then the rug is pulled out from underneath you, and it makes sense for that stuff to happen. So it's not like well, that didn't really seem right. Why would he do that? I didn't get that vibe at all inside of here. We have a revenge mission now. We have a revenge story, and I'm so for it. Sacrificers issue number 6. It really kicked the whole story up a notch, I think. Definitely be reading this one. And then we're going to close it out with Crave issue number 2, just because issue number 1 was hot and I liked it, and I just want to see what was going on in issue number 2. It's more of the same. If you liked issue number 1 for certain reasons, you're going to love issue number 2. We do have our main character kind of getting what he wants in here, as alluded to by the cover right here. We have not too much more about like the dangers of this entire thing. Maybe we're alluding to the dangers of this application. And basically what this app does is you type in what you want and it tells you the steps to achieve that. So if you want somebody, it tells you the steps and how to get to that point. And everybody in this campus is following along, and it's just like a crazy party going on all over the place. And so that's what's happening there. I'm excited to see what the danger part is, because everyone seems to be getting what they want. And some people are heartbroken here and there, but we don't really know the repercussions of that just yet. So I'm going to be really interested to see like, what's the danger? What's the bounce back? What's the relapse from all this? And yeah, but otherwise it's been a fun ride so far. So Crave issue number 2, really hot and heavy, just like issue number 1. And yeah, leaves you wanting more though. So guys, that's everything I read this week. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know down below what you read and what your favorite books of the week were. Then while you're down there, like, subscribe, share, hit that bell notification to be alerted when I put out new videos. Thanks again for watching. See you in the comments.